Imagine you were told that your home, where you'd lived for years, legally belongs to someone else. How would you feel? Scared? Angry? This is what both Israelis and Palestinians are being told all of the time. So is there a fair solution? Yeah, the Bible does give hope and clear promises for those on both sides. Obviously, the first place to start in a land dispute is to turn to history and to legal documents. And for the land of Israel, it depends how far back in time you go. Now, the Bible is full of detailed history and legal statements about the land. But some Christians say the Old Testament promises to the Jewish people finished after Jesus. If that is so, does that mean God no longer cares about specific tribes and languages and peoples and nations, or even the one nation He looked after for so many centuries? If so, can we really trust His everlasting promises that He's made to us? But if, on the other hand, God's promises to the Jewish people do still hold true, what about God's love for the whole world, and particularly the poor and the weak and the oppressed? Will God fulfill His promises regardless of how people behave towards Him and towards others? And if the Jewish people still have a promised land, does that mean they can do whatever they like with others who already live there? The Bible actually begins with God creating the whole world, which means it all actually belongs to Him. The earth is the Lord's and all it contains. That means He is the owner. That includes the land of Israel. Now He told the Israelites, "The land shall not be sold permanently, for the land is mine. You are foreigners and tenants with me." Ultimately, neither Israelis nor Palestinians own the land. God is the landlord, and He makes the rules. So what did He say about His land? Starting with Abraham, God promised to lead him to a land which would be given to you and to your descendants forever as an everlasting inheritance. But which descendants? Abraham became the father of many nations. So God repeated the same promise about the land of Canaan to Abraham's son Isaac and grandson Jacob, who was renamed Israel. True to His promise, God rescued the Israelites from slavery in Egypt and used Moses and Joshua to bring them into His land. So what about its previous tenants? Any Canaanites who accepted God's authority through Israel, like Rahab the prostitute or the Gibeonites, were allowed to stay, and God even defended them miraculously. But God never gave the land away. It was still His. So when the Israelites ignored and disobeyed Him, He disciplined them as well. Sometimes He even exiled most of them from His land, using first the Assyrians and Babylonians and later the Romans. But starting as early as Moses, God promised, "If your outcasts are at the ends of the earth, from there the Lord your God will gather you and bring you into the land which your fathers possessed." Sure enough, exiles did return from Babylon, but even afterwards, God said that He had not forgotten the others still in exile. Jesus Himself said He longed to gather the exiles like a hen gathers her chicks, but because that generation was unwilling, their house would be made empty again. He also prophesied that Jerusalem would be ruled by the non-Jews until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. Now, until clearly means that the Jewish people would someday rule again in Jerusalem. And 19 centuries later, His prophecy came true during the Six-Day War in 1967. But the Palestinians also have promises from God. Jeremiah 12:14-17 predicted a time of uprooting for both Jews and their neighbours. God said He would have compassion on them all, bringing each one back to his land inheritance. If non-Jews learn to worship the God of Israel, they will be built up in the midst of my people. So the Bible has land promises for both Jews and non-Jewish minorities gathered into God's land like chicks under his wings.